Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, it's a little muddy. Where's the sun though? And we got DJ Daily Beats back in the lab.
Back in the hizzy,
Yeah.
the shizzy.
And we got Miss Rhonda via Moorhead. The Red River. The only one that flows backwards.
I know, right? We're wrong.
Mm-hmm.
No,
YouTube. Got the song?
Sober Talk with Brother Brandon, the Raging Cajun. It's the weekend, baby.
Welcome back to another episode of Sober Talk with Brothers Brandon, the Raging Cajun. It's the weekend, baby. I hope everyone's having a great day and a great week. The rain has finally stopped. It has got a little cloudy. The mud's already still wet. We just need great old grandfather sunshine. But I hope everybody is having a great day. I mean, Memorial Day weekend. If you can't stay sober, catch your Uber. But tonight's show is being sponsored by Tide for Second Sober Living and New Freedom Center. Beds are available. Just call 701-527-4000. Also, tonight's show is being sponsored by Maya's Mission. Maya's Mission is based out of Carrollton, North Dakota. But shout out to Maya's Mission. Shout out to Prairie Recovery Center. Shout out to all the supporters of Sober Talk. Shout out to Preferred Heating and Air, Serenity Bridge, Sober Living. Shout out to Painless Window Cleaning right here out of Bismarck, North Dakota. Shout out to the House of Fade. And shout out to Treasures of the Sea and Earth. But I got a special guest in the house tonight. I got Miss Rhonda Gilbertson. How you doing, Rhonda?
I'm doing great.
Well, I'm very thankful for you driving the way through all the mud and the slush. It's like a regular Woodstock out there in some
It
places.
is. It is. Getting in here was tricky. A little tricky.
How was your day?
My day was great. It was a beautiful day filled with sunshine.
Sunshine, amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what was the first thing you did when you woke up this morning?
Well, every day that I get to open my eyes and take a deep breath is a beautiful day. So I'm just grateful for the day, and I always express gratitude first thing.
Right.
First thing.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
It's amazing how the path of your day can go when you start off with a grateful heart.
Yeah, and we'll have like an interesting story as far as that's concerned. I have a medical condition called systemic lupus, and it was diagnosed as terminal when I was 16 years old.
Okay.
So, and I'm going to be 55, double nickels this year.
Double nickels.
Double nickels this year. So, I've beat that 6 months by 39 years, and so every day that I have to express that gratitude is it's a win. It's a huge win for me.
Amen. So what is that, a different type of lupus or what is that?
There are two main types of lupus. One is systemic, which means it affects all the systems of your body, and that one is considered more serious, and it tends to get labeled terminal, or it did get labeled terminal back in the day when I was younger. Or you can get a kind of lupus that affects your kidneys only.
Okay.
And that's the kind of lupus that my mom has.
Mm.
So when you have a parent or a family member that kind of passes down that lupus DNA gene, um, you're you tend to be messed up.
Okay.
So my lupus is considered to be one that's a severe type.
Okay. Well, you look great.
Thank you. Thank
No?
you. I feel pretty good. Feel pretty good. Just got over double pneumonia though. So it
Double
comes
pneumonia.
just comes around from time to time.
Does that mean it's back to back or it's in both
In
lungs?
both lobes of both lungs.
Okay. Well, you a warrior. You know what I mean?
I'm a fighter. I'm a fighter for whatever reason. That's my God thing. Is God just shows up,
Right.
takes care of it.
Right.
You know, the medicine always works. The husband always takes care of the needs. It always just happens for me. So whatever is going on that's supposed to uh, take me out,
Mhm.
it doesn't.
Right. No weapon will conquer you.
I guess not.
um, what are some things, maybe somebody out there that has lupus, well, like what's some things to combat it? Like certain foods or certain drinks or certain activities? Like what's some things you've learned about it?
A couple things that you might suspect that you have lupus is there's a kind of rash that occurs on the face that is called a mylar rash, and it looks like a butterfly,
Okay.
and it's very dark red. And that's one thing. Global pain, so throughout the body. Sometimes you'll get like a weird infection,
Mm-hmm.
something that occurs in like a third world country.
Mm-hmm.
I developed an illness called pleurisy, which is a tear in the sac that holds your lungs in place. And that happens in countries in Africa that don't have proper nutrition.
Okay.
So, for whatever reason, I'm lucky enough to get that particular condition. Some things that I've learned that cause more inflammation or exacerbates conditions is like dairy products for some people, sunlight for some people. Um, yeah, increased activity. Sometimes it takes just a lot of resting.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of lupus in a nutshell, but every patient is extremely different.
Mm-hmm.
Extremely different.
Well, where are you originally from?
I am from Pelican Rapids, Minnesota, so about 25 minutes south of Detroit Lakes, kind of midway between Detroit Lakes and Fergus Falls on Highway 59.
Is there a lake there?
There isn't, but there's a nice river
Okay.
and a pelican, a giant cement pelican.
Oh, there is?
Mm, cute.
Oh, Pete the Pelican.
If you got to know. Yeah,
I'm gonna look it up.
it's very good. You should take August there.
I probably will. But
Yeah.
how was it growing up for you? Did you have mom, dad, brothers, sisters?
Mom, dad, one brother, no sisters. My brother is 2 years older than me and he's deaf.
Mhm.
So growing up was there was a lot of struggle. He was not speaking when I was born.
Mhm.
They didn't know he was deaf.
Okay.
Um, so there was a lot of, and then I came along and I started to develop sicknesses right away. Like I had chicken pox multiple times,
Mhm.
right away,
Mhm.
3, 4 times.
I remember having chicken pox.
Yeah. And I had massive chicken pox.
Mhm.
I had the measles, even though I was vaccinated. Like a lot of wild things happened.
Mhm.
But like other than medical, great childhood.
Y'all had any spiritual life?
Yeah, raised Catholic.
Okay.
Every Sunday, 6:30 on my knees praying the rosary. I was very serious.
Yep. I
Yeah.
like to say I'm a Catholic dropout.
Same.
About the third, fourth grade. After that, it wasn't no more church. You know?
There was too much gymnastics involved with Catholicism for me, but I really like the symbolism and I had a couple really cool priests when I was a teenager
Mhm.
that made Catholicism really cool for me.
Mhm.
So there are things about it that I really like, but as far as like the the organized religion and the money and all of that,
Right.
that wasn't for me. I wanted something a little bit more laid back, a little more youthful, something more musical, something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
And so did you find that?
Well, I'm still looking. I'm kind of Unitarian
Okay.
more. Yeah.
I don't
So,
think I know what that is.
um, kind of
Break it down, sis.
said, I God and I are really cool, and I think Jesus is a really cool dude.
Okay.
That's where I'm at.
Okay. I love it.
I don't know how else I don't know how else to put it. I kind of believe in a little bit of everything. When I was in Taiwan, I believed that I was Taoist. I didn't want to kill anything. I didn't want to eat anything killed, bought, sold, or processed. I was really heavy into it. But now I'm kind of middle of the road.
How
God
long were
is
you
good.
there?
3.5 months I taught English to preschoolers.
Huh. That's amazing.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah. I don't know too many people that taught English to preschoolers, plus in Taiwan.
Yeah, I found myself drinking too much in college and I just took off. I
Yeah.
got on an airplane and went.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
it was great.
What so you graduated from high school in Pelican Rapids,
Yeah.
and where did you go to school after that?
I went to school in Valley City State
Okay.
for English education. And I was there 2.5 years. I competed gymnastics for them their last year. They had gymnastics.
Hmm.
And was there 2.5 years. Then I went to Taiwan for 3.5 months and I transferred by fax machine because that's how you could transfer to Moorhead State. And I
Okay.
finished in community health.
Okay.
Yeah,
So a little bit of everything. But you had that writer in your blood.
did.
Yeah.
I did. I've been a creative writer probably my whole life. Like kept a diary and kind of kept track of my um just whatever nonsense I've been up to. And when I retired from teaching and medical case management, so I was a teacher 35 years and a medical case manager that long too. So
Amazing.
when I retired, I took to poetry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm doing now. I'm doing open mics and humanitarian efforts.
Do they have a lot of open mic nights in Fargo?
Yeah, they do actually. What, like 5 or 6? And my husband and I have one together at Black Coffee and Waffles, the first and third Wednesday of the month from 5 to 7.
Okay.
So it's like a sober happy hour,
Mm-hmm.
and we allow kids to come.
Mm-hmm.
So if there are young ears, the material is age appropriate.
Okay.
Um, and yeah, so it's music and poetry and rap and comedy and whatever else you're doing to
Right.
express yourself lyrically.
Yep. As
It's
an
all
art.
included, yeah, as an art, whatever you're doing.
Right.
We have people that have done expressive dance.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you got, we want to see it.
I love it.
Yeah,
You hear that, Derek?
Yes, sir.
We can show them our moves.
yeah,
You
he
know,
moves.
do the work.
I was thinking about making beats.
Oh, I was thinking
Doing
about like
live
doing the worm
musical.
backwards.
So you can do the worm backwards while he throws down some beats.
Yeah, with some glow sticks.
Yeah, exactly. It'll work out nicely.
Some hardstyle.
Right. So, do you drink?
I do socially very rarely.
Okay. Did you get to a point in your life where your drinking got kind of bad?
When I was a teenager, and then again after, like I was about 27, I would say that I was binge drinking after I was given my second 6 months to live. I
Okay.
was definitely treating, a condition.
Right.
Yeah.
Um, Any drugs?
Yeah, I did. I did dabble in drugs, um, and definitely don't do any of that anymore. I'm on too many medications to mess with
Right,
any of that.
right.
I also would say that I'm an opioid addict.
Okay.
So I don't do any opioids unless I'm in the hospital under um, resident medical care.
Um, how did that start?
Okay, so with lupus, there's this global severe pain. So they started me on roxycodone,
Okay.
and then
Roxy's, huh?
right away,
Yeah,
right away, how many you want?
yeah.
Oh, and lupus is so bad, and they feel so bad for you, and
Mhm.
it's the only thing that helps. So they just give you as many as you want in a jar, and then that doesn't help anymore.
Right.
Then they give you fentanyl patches
Yep.
as big as your back will hold for every 3 days. So then I'm on Roxy and fentanyl for 10 years, and I just went to bed, and they just gave me as much as I wanted. And it turned out my doctor was an addict too, so he was just loosely prescribing
Right.
medication.
See, I never heard of fentanyl until like,
I didn't know what it was when they gave it to me. I
you know
didn't
what I
know what
mean?
roxycodone was.
Yeah, I never heard of fentanyl though. Like later now I've heard like medically it was a patch and stuff like that. But the Roxy's, see in New Orleans, I remember that they had pill mills. If you get an MRI, you can get 10 of them in one day, and they give you 100 pain pills. It was Loracets, I believe, the green ones. And
Yeah.
they give you 100 Zambars and 100 Somas. And if you hit 10 doctors in one day, you got garbage bags full of them. And so
Yeah.
and so that's what I remember seeing. And it's crazy because there's an actual documentary about it on Netflix called The Pharmacist. But it's not a series, it's a series, but it's like real footage of that era. And I remember I joined the military, and when I would come home on leave, like dudes I grew up with, I'd be like, I'd see like thousands of pills on the table. I'd be like, man, y'all in pain? You know, like, you okay? Or what's going on?
Yeah.
And so, being that said, we had access to so many at a young age.
Oh yeah.
You know,
And and everybody on the staff just feels so bad for you because you walk in there and you can barely move, or they wheel you in a wheelchair. I was in a wheelchair for part of that time, and they'd wheel me in there, and they just load you up. They don't even ask, is it worse? Get scale 1 to 10. If you tell them it's so far off the charts, I can't. Those medications, opioids, are not designed to treat the kind of pain that lupus gives you.
oh,
Okay, so they will never help.
hmm
It doesn't matter how much they give you,
hmm
it will never treat that pain.
hmm
But they never told me that in 10 years. I was nodding out in front of my friends' children,
hmm
and I had no idea that I was addicted. No one told me I was addicted. No one told me I was going to be addicted. I remember seeing, it's interesting that you bring that up. I remember seeing one documentary piece on 2020, that show,
hmm
about those like strip mall pharmacies where you could go and get an MRI and end up with all that medication in one
Yep.
day. I had seen that one time, and it was about those medications that you mentioned,
hmm
but those weren't medications that were being offered me, so I had no knowledge about
Right.
what they would do or not do.
I had a lot of good friends. I mean, we were teenagers that took a mixture, like they took two somas and this and that, and they didn't never wake up. Their mom found them dead. You know, rest in peace. Or like they snorted cocaine all night long, and then they couldn't come down, so they started taking some of those Zam bars or whatever, and then they went to sleep and never woke up. You know what I mean?
I'm so lucky that didn't happen to me. Because here's the thing, I never overused my medication. I never bought meds on the street.
hmm
I never traded meds with anybody. I never did any of those things. However, They gave me as much as I wanted.
See, I would have wanted you to be my friend.
See? And most people wanted to be my friend because they knew
Right.
that the thing is, I never went any place for anybody to know that I was on these drugs because I was in my bed and half comatose.
Yep.
So the point is, I have to still take these for surgical purposes and other purposes, but I can't take them unless I'm under either,
Yeah.
yeah, like I have to be in the hospital.
Right. Well, at least you know that.
Yes. And that's the only way I will take an opioid is if I am under a doctor's direct, like right under their nose, because I just know that I'll take the whole bottle
Yeah.
because I like them too much.
Right.
I do. They're
Yep.
great.
Well, that's what us addicts do. We overdo it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
We don't know when to stop.
no,
Mm-mm.
no, because it's too good. It's too good.
Mm.
And the thing of it is that we nobody tells us or nobody really tells us to stop either because they don't know what to say.
Mhm.
They don't know what to say. So yeah, that's what happened to me. So that I have some lived experience there for sure. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that you're still with us.
Yeah, for sure. It was probably touch and go there a couple times.
Amen to that. What was one of the darkest place of your life? If you look back, it was like this was like a dark time.
Well, I would say being when I was 32, I had to have a surgery that was really hard for me to have.
Hmm.
Because it meant the end to being able to have a child biologically.
Hmm.
And so that for me was really difficult. But Brian has a child and I have a daughter by love as well. And so there are two children. It's just fine. I have seven grandchildren that I never thought I would have.
Hmm.
And so, but that was a really hard time for me. I became um, extremely depressed, extremely anxious. I thought all of these things mattered, and I didn't realize that they would all take care of themselves over time.
See how that works?
Yeah,
Mm.
you have to be careful what you pray for because seven grandchildren will show up at your door.
Yeah.
Hands out.
You- But you got to be the coolest grandma in the universe.
Oh, I definitely am.
Uh,
Without a doubt.
um, what all the different countries have you been to?
Well, not too many. I've just been to Taiwan, Canada, England, Mexico. I think that's it. I've been to Jamaica. Did I say that? That's it.
What year did you go to England?
1987, maybe. I was an international gymnastics coach. Not doesn't sound very international, but I traveled nationally.
Mhm.
When I was a teenager, I was teaching gymnastics, and so I traveled a lot within the country, even
Right.
though they called me international. But
Yeah.
I traveled mostly within the Midwest, Montana, Wisconsin.
What's the most backflips you've seen someone do?
Oh, geez, 30 or more.
Right.
Yeah, I've seen in real life, I've seen a human man do a standing triple backflip. That's pretty sick.
Right. Have you ever helped someone train in their life and then they wound up going to the Olympics? Or like some kind
I have put my hand on an Olympian before.
okay.
Yeah, but not trained them like
Right.
ongoing, but
Right.
I've touched an Olympian before and then
Okay.
they kept going in the line. But yeah,
Well, that's pretty amazing.
yeah.
Um, so tell me about your poetry. Like, what is like, do you have like a favorite one or you have so many and it just depends on what mood you're in? What month of the year is your birthday?
July. July 15th. So there's a lot of fives this year. A lot of fives happening this year. Um, okay, so my poetry is, I think I call it very armchair approachable. So it doesn't rhyme for one thing. And it's just like I feel like a conversation between myself and the listener.
Okay.
So I just perform poetry for one person.
Mm-hmm.
And if it connects with one person, then I've done my job.
Amen.
And I usually write my poetry at 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't edit it. So
Mm.
if I make a mistake, that becomes part of the performance.
Love it.
So I have hundreds of pieces. Some of them are really terrible,
Uh-huh.
but I keep them around because sometimes they become an outstanding performance. Just somehow it works out that way. Because sometimes someone will say, like, give me feedback on a piece,
Mm.
and they'll be like, you know what? That really reminds me of my grandma's house, and she had a lemon tree, and we were in Somas, California. And I'll be like, my cousin is from Somas, California, and they had a tangelo tree, and that reminds me of my aunt. And then it will become something totally different.
Right. So August's birthday is July 16th.
What?
Oh, yep.
The day after mine. What time was he born?
I don't know. I was in jail.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah, I miss both my kids being born.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
I have an older daughter as well, but she'll be here for our wedding.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So both of the kids are in the wedding.
Yep.
That'll be fantastic.
It's amazing what God can do in your
Yeah,
life
yeah.
when you get on the right plane, you know,
When
the
you
right
wait,
frequency.
when you wait,
Yep.
when you wait for your blessings, then they'll show up.
You can mess your whole life up in a half a second, and it'll take you 17 years to fix it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's exactly
So
true. That's exactly true.
one bad thought that goes into action,
That's right.
it can set you back for a long time.
That's right.
If
And
you
then,
even ever get back from it, you know.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
And so have you what kind of places have you said some of your poetry? Around the nation or
So
just
I perform. I've performed in a bar before, and I don't recommend that.
were you on top the bar when you did it?
Darn near. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, no, no. Open mics sometimes occur in a bar.
Right.
Coffee shop, art museums, art houses, um, libraries, wherever they'll have me, I guess. Yeah.
I love it.
Regional treatment centers,
Yeah. Yeah.
prisons.
Actually, Rhonda was one of the speakers at our recent Jamestown prison event. Barbers and
Yes.
speakers.
Yes.
Eh,
And this one guy, he was so great. He came up to me afterwards and he asked me for one of my poems and he said, "Can you send it to me?" And I said, "No, you can have this one." Whap! And I just gave him the one that I had with me. So he was a really cool kid.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's gonna hold on to it for
I
a
hope
while.
so. I hope so.
So, do you have some material for us now?
Yeah, yeah. I'll give you this one. This one talks, it speaks to my own personal story, and it's called The Wolf Inside My Clothing.
Okay, the wolf inside her clothing.
Yeah. I remember it coming the first time when I was 4 or 5, the wolf inside my clothing. It didn't even occur to me to be afraid. It needed a place to hibernate, and I had the goods. When the wolf moved in, it started with the skin of my hands and that of my feet. It burrowed in for the winter of my life. Inches of canyons lay deep, filled with that god awful smelling prescription dermatological tar ointment. I was blacktop by kindergarten. When the wolf showed up from time to time, I knew it. Low grade fevers meant saltines, 7 Up, and laying on the couch for days at a time. I peeled my skin off, sometimes sheets at a time, and made my mama cry. My poor mom. She tried so hard to kill it because she knew what it was. It wore her clothing too, but it didn't want her quite as badly as it wanted me. A wolf inside my clothing eats my hair. It likes how it smells. All the soft curling strands lie together to form tendrils. It enjoys how the colors don't just look like but are dark hot chocolate. The wolf's favorite bit of my hair is the tiny root just inside the scalp, the follicle. Sweet, sensitive, and very, very fragile. It used to eat my hair in patches, mostly just to reassure me that I was the most disgusting on the outside and that other people could see it now too. Then it came in and ate all my hair at once, from everywhere. Then gave it back, took it again, push and pull. The disgust and shame from that last super fun episode I own. I blame myself for that, and here's why. We, myself included, as a society, place so much value on the aesthetic. We decide which are the masculine and feminine traits and dole them out like playing cards. In essence, I allowed myself to be told that I was not as beautiful as the next woman because my lack of hair may possibly project a slightly more male sensibility. I bought into that notion. First of all, forget that. I dig it. It's hardcore and more importantly, very low maintenance. Let me remind you that my hair was taken from me hand-to-hand combat style by the wolf that wears my clothing on more than one occasion. I didn't give one strand away. I fought for each one equally. Envision me as that teenage girl at the bottom of the shower stall, holding all I held in my hands that defined me as a woman, assuming this loss I was experiencing was reducing me to less than or not enough, and made getting to Composition 3 with Dr. Brown less of a priority. Although it wears a suit, carries a briefcase, and power charges the mean streets of Manhattan from one life changing mission to the next, it is the weight of my skin that the wolf can barely stand to carry from Lexington to Madison Avenue allowing it, without allowing it to slide down a urine drenched subway grate, all in the bones, useless for the purpose. The wolf is really quite over my crap by now and wants to get things moving along. It's time to get real, really real. Lights out. I woke up 2 days later in New York University Hospital. I had no idea who I was or where I was, but it seemed shiny, fancy like. Long story short, a delicious woman named Margaret, my boss and mentor, with the intestinal fortitude of a caged bone moose, had contacted all of the hospitals in the 5 boroughs of New York City, including City Morgue, looking for my body. I hadn't been to work for a few days and had not called in to report my status. She had located me at said hospital at some point during those 48 hours, where my name was registered as Doe, Jane. Strangely, I was the only patient checked in under that alias at that enormous teaching medical facility on that particular day. Huh. My police report reflects witness testimony indicating that I had a tonic-clonic seizure lasting more than 10 minutes. During that time, I had been mugged and stripped of my identification. And C, an ambulance had been called and dispatched. That's it. I was only one short city block away from work. Because of my wolf, I have been drugged, imprisoned, assaulted, tormented, and violated by it nearly every day. I don't want it, and I sure as hell don't want you to have it either. Its name is Lupus. What's the name of your wolf? Oh,
Encore, encore.
oh,
That was amazing. She said, "I woke up to a delicious woman with straight bone like a moose." I was trying not to laugh. I love it. But that was, I mean, that was great.
oh, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you very
for real. She put it on gold scrolls.
much. Probably is on Cold Scrolls. Just kidding. Just kidding.
You got anything else for us?
Yeah, I'll give you one more. I'll give you
Yay!
one more. Okay, do you want one about sobriety or do you want one about a little boy?
Sobriety.
Sobriety. Okay, so this is called the saga of every bottle.
The saga of every bottle.
Yes, the saga of every bottle. Every bottle has a story. Every drunk has their drink, their stool at the bar, their stupid parking spot at the liquor store. I'm still looking for answers. Answers to the question, how does one person survive a single day? when the pain gets too much to bear. I walk the grounds of the Salvation Army parking lot, picking up fireball shooters and meth needles for lunch and giving hugs. I've always wondered why fireball. Objectively speaking, it was absolutely rancid. It tasted like rotten shoe leather. But isn't it really about the story, about the time and the place and the guy and the heartbreak anyway? The pain and the survival and the absolute fortitude of the human condition. And the love. Man, what about the love? There is a saga in every bottle. Ultimately, one bottle leads to 2 to 4 to 8 just to reach the pain that ails you, to scratch that itch, the you that falls to the bottom like the fermented tequila worm, and you drift apart into flaky little pieces of nothingness, tasteless, unrecognizable. Then a little old lady will maybe come outside the building just to check to see if you are still breathing and say, I love you. I have seen alcohol and drugs affect your life negatively in the following ways, for there is indeed a saga in every bottle.
Woo-hoo! Rhonda Gilbertson. That is the truth. Yeah.
Yeah.
She said fireball, empty bottles of fireball smell like old shoe leather.
Well, they taste like shoe leather anyway.
Right.
Somebody got me to try Fireball once, and I said, this stuff is rancid. Why are you drinking it? We don't drink it for the taste. Let me tell you that, is what I was told.
Right. Yeah, I heard cinnamon's good for you.
Right.
Nah, nah, it's crazy though, cause like I remember when I first was like a conquistador, partying and stuff like that. It was always the top shelf stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some uh Grand Cognac or something imported.
Yeah.
And then at the end, I'm drinking Steel Reserve in the Motel 6. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
99 bananas or whatever it
Yeah,
is you can get.
two straws, and I'm just half a person at that time. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, what's the best concert you ever been to?
The best concert I ever went to
Like the
was,
whole experience.
okay, you're not going to believe me when I tell you. Night Ranger for $5 at it was the best deal at Rib Fest in Fargo.
Rib Fest?
Yeah, Night Ranger is an 80s band.
Yeah, I heard of it.
Okay, but we stood next to the sound guy, and if you stand next to the sound guy, that's the best place to stand because they know what the best sound is.
Hmm.
They dial it up for them.
Hmm.
You know this. So, but it was Night Ranger for $5. Best $5 I ever spent. And Brian had seen Jack Blades, the lead singer of Night Ranger, who is like 5'1", maybe tops, running around Fargo that very day.
Mm.
Yeah, I think he was running actually, wasn't he? Jogging?
In boots and shorts.
I suppose, probably. Yeah, probably.
Um, I think the best concert I ever been to was a couple of summers ago, and it was just like some odd thing that popped up in the Laughing Sun parking lot outside. It was Yellow Wolf.
Yellow Wolf.
Yeah.
Actually, by far the best concert that I ever did see was the first uh Lollapalooza
Okay.
with like Ice-T was there with huh? With Body Count, yeah, and Red Hot Chili Peppers were there, and
Mm.
um of course my man Rollins was there. The Rollins band was there. Jane's Addiction was there. Yeah,
Yeah.
Perry Farrell. Brian knows all the music stuff. But yeah,
Right.
1991 in Minneapolis, I think it was. 1991 or 92.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, that was a good one.
So when I joined the military, my first duty station, I got stationed in England for 2 years. That's why we were there. I was an hour and a half from London,
Oh, fun.
Mildenhall Air Base. So I was about 30 minutes from Cambridge University. So uh we we started making friends with locals, and these girls brought us. They said we're gonna go to a concert, and it was in London, and it was remember Onyx Slam,
Yeah.
stood up,
Fun.
yeah,
Let
it
the
was
boys be boys.
them, Sticky Fingers, them, and Master P.
Yes.
And it was like, this can't be real. You know, like what? I can't believe it. But it was just it was hardcore, you know.
Oh yeah.
The scene, I don't know how it is now, but like in the early 2000s, the hip hop scene in I mean, it was like they're kind of like I don't know how to explain it.
Isn't it crazier there than it is
Yeah,
here?
the alcohol is more stronger too.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah, I
yeah.
don't know. There's something in it. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Booze.
Yeah. But but yeah, it was amazing. It was like their hip hop scenes is like real hip hopish. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know. It was just I also been to Liverpool to the bar where the Beatles started. There's statues of them right outside the door in the
No.
street.
No way.
Well, I was there for 2 years, so
Yeah. So you got to see some stuff. I was there
it
for
only takes
48
three and a
hours.
half hours to get from one side of England to the other.
Yeah, it's tiny like a state.
Yep,
Yeah, like New Jersey.
yep. But I've been to New York. I went to uh,
You have.
I went to New York for a week by myself.
So when I lived in New York, so I was a Brooklyn person, and I lived the first private house after the firehouse off of Building D in Marcy Projects
Yep, I went to
is where I
Crown
lived.
Heights.
Oh, Crown Heights, that's also a lovely neighborhood.
Yep.
Yeah, so if you worked in social services or emergency and fire rescue, you could get a discount on your rent if you lived in low income housing in the neighborhoods where you served. So for $200 off my rent, I lived in Mercy Projects.
How was
So
that? What
well,
year was that?
it was 1994 through 1997. No, I was living so 1992 to 1995 approximately.
Yeah.
Yeah, right off the corner of Building D.
Okay.
So there are a lot of famous people running around there then, but I didn't see any of them. They were
Yeah.
all kids.
Yep. I went
Just
all
little
over.
kids.
Each day I went to a different part of New York.
Did you?
But I went, but I knew some Dominican people that lived in Dykeman,
Yeah.
uptown, and so I stayed at a hotel in Manhattan, and and then I started learning the subway and the taxis and all that stuff. But Washington Heights, Harlem, Dykeman, and then Brooklyn and Manhattan.
Yeah.
That's a
So
that's where I spend all my time.
so in Manhattan, um, I worked on 55th and Madison was our office for Skip of New York. I worked downtown in the West Village at the Gay Men's Health Crisis, and I worked at in Harlem at Mama Moses's holding crack babies
So I
in the
went and ate at
90s.
Sylvia's.
Yeah.
I went and ate at Sylvia's, and I went and checked out the Apollo.
Oh, did you go to the Apollo? That's great.
Yeah,
I've done
I
that
still got
too.
a picture. I got pictures.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was great.
it was great.
Yeah, but I was like, after my week, I was like talking to people from New York, and they'd be like, "Man, you was there? Like, I don't know how you made it out alive." You know, I just strolling. You know, I just kept my feet were hurting. I see why people wear Timberlands and boots in New York because it's cement, but it goes like this.
Or people in suits with their sneakers because they got to walk really fast.
Right,
You got places to go.
right. It's a different place. I could tell you that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. It's
I couldn't do it now. It's a young people's city.
yeah.
Yeah. You have to be young to live there, I think.
You think so?
I think so.
I don't know. I need nature. You know what I mean? I need land and
Yeah.
you know stuff I can see. I wish North Dakota had more trees, but Minnesota's got a whole ton of them.
Yep, you can always come to Minnesota and see our trees and
So tell me
shade.
about the nonprofit that you're a part of.
Okay, so the nonprofit I'm a part of is called Life Care Unites Foundation. It was started by four young kids from West Fargo and their parents, Katrina and Jeremy Robinson. And what we do is we have a hygiene bank
Okay.
system. We have four locations in Cascade counties, and there are food pantries, right? But there are nowhere to meet your hygiene needs like toilet paper, other paper products, cleaning products, um, personal care products, um, and in the winter, emergency cold weather products. So that's what we do.
Okay.
And we gather things that already exist in the community. So let's say you went and bought a 4 pack of deodorant. you're not going to use them all right now. You're going to give us one of your deodorants and we're going to pack them up in a hygiene kit
Mm.
and we're going to make those available to our neighbors for free when they need those things.
Amen.
So that's what we're doing. I'm a board member and I'm also an executive assistant to our executive director and VP.
So do you go out and give them out, or people come to your facility?
People come to our facilities most of the time. We're a relief effort, so we're only open 6 months out of the year from June to December. We spend the other 6 months collecting items from the community. We do a lot of stock the shop events, so look for those on Facebook if you're in the Fargo, Moorhead, and surrounding areas. Because, like I said, we do cast clay. We have 4 locations. If you're in need of products, look for Life Care Unites Foundation. Um, yeah, and we're looking to connect with people who have products that they'd like to donate, and also for people who are in need of products. We'd love to donate to you.
Amen to that. So what's
Yeah,
the name of it again?
Life Care Unites Foundation.
Life Care Unites Foundation. Google it. Check it out if you're in the Fargo area. Stop by and give them some witch hazel or something.
Yes, we would
You know,
love it.
anything that would help a person in need.
Yes.
How's the homelessness in Fargo, Moorhead?
I think the biggest part of the crisis right now, I think that like any community of any size, we have a good sizable homelessness crisis. Um, and I think right now the biggest part of the crisis is that there's a no camping ban. So the people that were camping now have absolutely nowhere to be.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm concerned about that. And also, people who are found camping now have a fine. They now maybe have a warrant. Um, they now maybe have had their stuff bulldozed.
Mm-hmm.
So they now maybe don't have a social security card, birth certificate, ID. So we've got a number of problems here. And they don't have any money to pay a fine, certainly, or they'd be staying somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So I have concerns, but I also have joy in my heart for these people. They're the most resilient badasses that I know. They're going to keep on keeping on, and we're going to help them the best that we can, and we're going to pray for them because they're they're doing the best that they can.
Mm, amen to that. Well, that's
Yeah.
amazing. A lot of overdoses in Fargo.
There are still some. I think we're doing better getting trained in Narcan and harm reduction. I think we're starting to understand those principles a little bit better. As long as we're continuing to get trained
Mm-hmm.
and understand w- when we show up on somebody who is passed out,
Mm-hmm.
that could be an OD,
Right.
that we can do better at saving lives. Um, yeah, I think you know keep training on Narcan and get the message out there about harm reduction.
If someone was to get a tattoo in Fargo, who would you recommend?
Well, I would recommend Grand Forks Tom Fife at Fife Life.
Fife Life in Grand Forks.
Yeah,
He's the guy.
he's my guy.
He can do everything, color, uh,
Yeah,
portraits.
yep,
Okay.
he can do it all.
If you're in Grand Forks and you're looking for some Fife, holler at Fife Life.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's who I go to. That's who does my color. So
Okay. Got a couple questions for you.
okay.
What's your favorite color?
My favorite color is teal blue.
Teal blue.
Yes,
If
Tiffany blue.
if you was on death row and you only had one last meal, what would it be?
So it would have to be something with mashed potatoes and gravy, probably a hot turkey sandwich with mashed potatoes and gravy.
Just dripping.
Just dripping, filthy with gravy.
Yeah. You you know what I love in Fargo? We just found it. I went speak at Rele- Relevant Life Church
Yeah,
in Fargo, Moorhead,
yeah,
and we went ate at Fish and Beer Company.
yeah.
Yeah, and it was amazing. I mean, I spent like $300 though, but well, I get to this point, especially during wintertime. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I get like in the slumps and I need my seafood fix.
Yeah. So what did you have?
I had we had oysters, lobster, uh, and I don't know. We had a bunch of stuff. We had a whole
Oh,
bunch of oysters though.
oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, it was fresh. It tastes fresh. It's
Yeah.
not frozen.
Yeah.
Um, if you could travel and visit any place in the world, where would it be?
Norway.
Why?
Well, we're both Norwegian, and we found out that even though we're not related, our families are from like 3 miles apart in Norway.
And in Minnesota.
And in Poland too. We're both a little Polish. And in Poland we're like 5 kilometers apart too.
Ain't that something how the universe works?
I know.
She said, summon a neighbor.
I know. Give me a neighbor boy from here and Norway and Poland. How about?
I told that to Teresa one time. I said, you know what? She was like, what? We might be long lost brother and sister. She said, shut up.
I know. I know.
Just think out the box.
Yeah.
I was just messing with her.
Yeah.
Uh,
They used to ask you if you were related when you applied for a marriage license. I don't know if they do anymore.
yeah, it's okay if you're third cousins. No, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how that goes. But it's funny when you think about it though. What's one of your favorite books?
My favorite book is written by a Minnesotan named Maria Hornbacher, and it's called Wasted.
Wasted?
Yeah, and it's not well, it is what it says it is. She has an eating disorder, a severe eating disorder. But what I love about the book, she also deals in substance abuse and addiction and all kinds of mental health problems.
Hmm.
But what I love about the book, and I've never seen another one written like this, is she quotes her own medical record.
Okay.
So, like she footnotes her medical record, and she also corrects her own medical record
Hmm.
when she thinks it's documented incorrectly.
In the book?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's very interesting. If you ever want to get deep into somebody else's medical record and get their opinion about their mental health and addiction history
Hmm.
and what they think is incorrect,
Hmm.
she thinks she was incorrectly mentally her mental health status was incorrectly diagnosed. She
Hmm.
doesn't really disagree with her addiction diagnoses, but she does really disagree with her mental health diagnoses.
Mm.
So, but she quotes all of that and footnotes it. It's amazing how it was done.
What's a great place for someone to visit in Minnesota during the summer, like outdoors?
Okay,
So if you had
that's hard.
if you had a friend that you met when you was in Taiwan, and they said, "Girl, we want to see Minnesota," and so they come to Minnesota and they want to go to like to a lake or an area or a spot or an event or something, what would you recommend for them?
The Friendship Festival in Pelican Rapids.
How is that? Is it just a bunch of
It's
friends?
well, it's like an art and craft festival, but it's also like a lot of different kinds of food and a lot of different cultures are represented like in dance and art and entertainment and
Hmm.
a lot of food.
There's a lot of people.
A lot of people, thousands, probably 10,000 people go through there. I
Yeah, it
don't know.
must be big.
Yeah, it is big.
You ever
It
had a
is big.
booth there?
No, I've never had a booth there.
What time of year is it? I mean,
In
what?
the hot summer, from beginning of August, probably,
Okay,
or July. They have a dance and everything
okay.
at night.
The Friendship Festival.
Yeah,
I'll set up a booth and sell friendship bracelets.
you should. You should. You
Two for
probably,
one.
I know, you probably make a gazillion dollars.
It
You
sounds
could.
amazing though. It sounds like it's a nice breeze on a sunny day.
No, and it's all around the river they put up around the path.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
sounds pretty
we
cool.
might have to check that out one day. Well, we're going to do like we always do it at the end of every Sober Talk show.
Okay.
If someone's listening right now, they might have lupus, they might be struggling with addiction, struggling with alcoholism, depression, they're on their deathbed, um, they're in a dark spot. If you had any words of wisdom, what would you say to their eardrums?
I would say that you don't have to do it alone. You should get a team of people around you. So get help and get a team of people around you so that you don't have to do it by yourself because those are very heavy things to deal with by yourself.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
You got any shout outs?
Shout out to my kids, Luann and Lexi. Shout out to Elin, Sunny, Cedar, Max, Sophia, Winston, and I'm sure Brewer will get this for sure. He's about what 7 months now, so he's gonna for sure see this. So shout out to them and to my husband Brian.
Shout out to Brian.
Yeah,
He he got her here safely.
yeah, he got me here safely, and he'll get me home safely too.
Amen to that. That's a great man.
Yes.
So what's the rest of the weekend look like for you on this
Mm,
Memorial Day weekend?
yes, I'm gonna be cleaning my basement, and we're gonna mow the lawn.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's pretty celebratory.
Well,
Yeah,
at least you got a plan.
yeah, we do have a plan,
Yeah.
and then they'll be resting.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
What's your favorite thing to do in your life now, like that makes you feel serene?
I love to meditate and I love watching documentaries, especially like rockumentaries.
Rockumentary.
Yeah, like from the 80s, like ones that I've seen 100 times before. I love to watch them again and again and again.
Right.
Yeah, keep watching them.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
When's the last time you've been to a concert?
Did we go to one last year? 2 years ago,
She was,
probably.
I,
Cheap
th-
Trick.
I thought she was gonna say last night.
No, no, I think 2 years ago, Cheap Trick. We had to leave early because the girl made me mad. She kept dancing on my feet and spilling beer all over me. There's nothing worse than when you don't drink and someone spills their alcohol all over you.
Right.
Oh, that's annoying. So I got mad, so I said it's time to leave before I lose my cool.
Right. Or you don't smoke cigarettes and somebody's
Oh,
like
smoking
right
in
next
your
to you and you just
face.
like, man, that's toxic.
I know.
It is crazy because that used to be me.
I know. I know. Same. I used to smoke 2 packs of cigarettes a day, and he doesn't smoke at all. And I can't believe that was me now.
Right. Well, thank you so much, sis.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you
This
for
was
coming
wonderful.
all the way
Thank you
from
so
Fargo,
much.
Moorhead. Thank you for the material. It
Yes.
was amazing. And sharing some of your life, some of your story with us.
Sure.
And so, what times and what days of the week is the spoken word night that you host?
It is the first and third Wednesday of the month
First and third Wednesday of the month,
from 5 to 7 at Black Coffee and Waffle House in Fargo.
like downtown.
Yep, it's right downtown on 4th and Broadway.
Okay.
Yep.
Just show up and say, we here for Rhonda.
Yep. Yep. And Brian. Brian's the sound guy.
Okay.
He makes it happen down there.
Yep.
Yep.
That's like Derek. Derek, he's the magician, you know?
Silent but deadly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's the guy.
For real.
But we might come check you out. You know,
Cool.
we'll bring a whole crew.
That would be
A
great.
pet and zoo and everything.
Okay. It's not like we haven't seen that before.
Well, I want to thank everybody for tuning in to another episode of Sober Talk with Brothers Brandon, the Raging Cajun. But it's been a great time with Sister Rhonda. Check her out. Check out the nonprofit if you're in the Fargo area on a Wednesday, first and last Wednesday of the month. Check out Coffee and Waffles.
Black coffee and
Black
waffles.
Coffee and Waffles spoken word night. Yeah, I definitely want to check one of those out because they don't really have that here. Um, So maybe it's an idea. Light bulb, click, click. But thank everybody for tuning in. I hope everybody has a safe weekend. I know people are going to be camping. They're going to be on the river. Let's be safe. You know what I mean? Because if you didn't drink, the bad things that might happen would have never happened. You know what I mean? And so I've learned that over time. It's like a lot of stuff. The root of the cause is you were drinking. You know what I mean? And so if you don't have to drink, don't drink. If you do drink, don't drive a boat, catch an Uber, just stay put, and stay safe and enjoy it. Have family fun, family times, um, and Memorial Day. I'll be Monday. We'll be at the Veteran Cemetery in Mandan. Um, and we're gonna go pay our respects and be there for the event because I was in the war in one war and I seen people die. You know what I mean? And so there is people that gave the ultimate sacrifice and they had families. You know what I mean? And so pay your respects for people that gave the ultimate sacrifice for this country. But in the words of my great grand sponsor, Jack Height, if nobody told you yet, we love you, baby. Grease and chicken grease. Rhonda
Sober
Gilbertson,
Talk
folks.
with Brother Brandon, the Raging Cajun. It's the weekend.